Today's lesson is called Tom Holland, Swinging into the Spotlight. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
And I'm Roger, and today we're going to continue with our article entitled Tom Holland Swinging into the Spotlight. So we started talking about the British actor Tom Holland, and he's the newest Spider-Man. He's pretty young. He's still got his career in front of him. He's going to be around for many, many years to come. And last time, of course, we talked about his big break and how he landed a major role in the latest Spider-Man movie. So, of course, we're going to know who he is for many years to come.
There you go, Tom Holland. It almost seems as though he was born to play the role of Spider-Man. Yes, based on his character and his experiences as a young man, he was bound to play Spider-Man at some point in his life, and we'll learn more about this later. Yes, this guy was destined to play Spider-Man. Yes, he's a great dancer, so he moves well. He's acrobatic like Spider-Man, and he also had life experiences similar to that of Peter Parker, the person who is Spider-Man in the comic books and the movies. Yes, young Tom Holland there was bullied as a young man because of his dancing, not unlike how Peter Parker was bullied before he became Spider-Man. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll start reading from the second portion of our lesson on Tom Holland.
Landing the role of Spider-Man was a dream come true for Holland, who was so obsessed with the superhero that he ran around in at least 30 different Spider-Man suits during his childhood. It wasn't just his love of the character that won him the part, though. The young actor says he can relate to Peter Parker because neither of them was ever the cool kid at school. On top of that, the acrobatic skills he continues to develop allow him to execute some of his own stunts.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 acrobatic 这个字是形容词，指特技的、杂技的。例如 Danny used his acrobatic ability to complete the obstacle course in record time. Danny 运用他杂技般的能力在障碍赛中破纪录。另外，去除 acrobatic 字尾的 ic， 可以成为它的名词 acrobat， 指特技演员、杂耍艺人。我们可以说 The acrobats showed off their skills at the circus. 特技演员在马戏团中展现他们的技巧。接着我们看到一个动词 execute， 课文中有执行、贯彻的意思，像是 Steve was an excellent travel agent, able to execute any client's wishes within one business day. Steve 是很厉害的旅游中介，可以在一个工作日之内完成任何客户的愿望。而 execute 除了上面的意思外，还可以指将……处死。所以说The government executed several prisoners convicted of carrying out acts of terrorism. 政府处决了数名因执行恐怖行动遭定罪的囚犯。再来，我们看到单字 stunt， 这个字是名词，指特技表演。举例来说 Randy can do backflips and other impressive stunts on his dirt bike.Randy 仍在越野机车上做出后空翻及其他高难度的特技。另外，这个字除了可以当名词外，还可以当作动词，指阻碍……的发展。我们可以说 The natural disaster stunted our manufacturing capacity for months. 自然的灾害阻碍了我们好几个月的产量。
Okay, everybody, let's talk about the first part of the lesson for today. So, landing the role of Spider-Man was a dream come true for Holland, who was so obsessed with the superhero that he ran around in at least 30 different Spider-Man suits during his childhood. Now, of course, as you know, Spider-Man is an American comic book, okay? So as a kid, of course, I read lots of comic books. Marvel Comics, of course, had Spider-Man and Captain America and the Incredible Hulk and stuff like that. DC Comics had Superman and Batman and stuff like that. So I'm guessing that Spider-Man or American comic books were popular in England as well, or in the UK. So he probably saw those comic books and read them, and he was inspired, and he liked Spider-Man. So he got obsessed with Spider-Man. So he ran around in different Spider-Man suits when he was a kid. So we're saying that landing the role of Spider-Man was a dream come true for him because I guess he was a big fan when he was a kid. So here, landing the role, you get your big break and you get this role. It's given to you. You land that role. You get that role. And it's probably a role that a lot of other actors auditioned for.
There you go. If you land a role, you get that role, okay? And this is kind of a big deal. Everybody wanted to get this role and you got it, or it was tough to get this role and then you got it. That's what it is to land a role. And yes, like I said during the introduction, it seems like this guy, Tom Holland, was born to play Spider-Man. Yes, he moves well. He's acrobatic and stuff like that. He had life experiences similar to that of the young Peter Parker who became Spider-Man later on in those comic books. And yes, he was also obsessed with Spider-Man, this character. As a kid, he ran around in at least 30 different Spider-Man suits during his childhood. He loved Spider-Man. He was born to play this role. There, I said it. Yes, he just loves Spider-Man. Who knows how he came into contact with Spider-Man in the first place? It could have been in the comic books or in TV shows or in movies, but one way or another, he has a deep spiritual connection with this character, Spider-Man. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. The next sentence says, it wasn't just his love of the character that won him the part, though. Yeah, it wasn't enough that he loved Spider-Man, okay? There was a lot more to it than that.
Indeed, so he was obsessed with Spider-Man, but it wasn't just that obsession that got him that part, that landed him the role. The young actor says he can relate to Peter Parker because neither of them was ever the cool kid at school. So I guess, as we mentioned earlier, he was bullied at school, and when you go to school, of course, you know who the popular kids are, who's the captain of the football team, who's the cheerleader, the head cheerleader, and stuff like that. You know if you're cool or not. I guess I was like Peter Parker. I was kind of a loner, a misfit, an outsider, and I guess Tom Holland was like that as well. And, of course, if you've read the Spider-Man comic books, you know that Peter Parker himself was not the cool kid at school.
There you go. So, Peter Parker wasn't the cool kid at school, and neither was Tom Holland. Yeah, they were very alike in that way. And on top of that, in addition, what's more, furthermore, the acrobatic skills he continues to develop allow him to execute some of his own stunts. So, like I said before, Tom Holland, from a young age, he always seemed to move well or gracefully. Okay, he had the makings of a great dancer, so yes, he moved well, he could dance well, and he's also acrobatic. And apparently people noticed this about him and said, hey, for this reason, he'll make a perfect Spider-Man. He's like Peter Parker, he loves Spider-Man, and he can also move like Spider-Man. So yes, on top of that, on top of all of these things, his skills, these skills that he continues to develop, their acrobatic skills, they allow him to actually be Spider-Man or to execute or to do some of his own stunts as Spider-Man.
Indeed. So you need acrobatic skills, of course, if you're a gymnast, for example. So he continued to develop those skills, and he could execute or carry out his own stunts or his own tricks in his movies. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's move on to the next part. We'll listen first.
Holland was widely applauded for his energetic performance in Spider-Man: Homecoming in 2017. Even receiving a BAFTA Rising Star Award. His success launched him into stardom, but he's made sure not to let it go to his head because he knows that the terrible thing about being famous is you start to believe it. This self-awareness, along with reminders from his dad, has helped him stay grounded.
第二部分，我们看到一个动词 applaud， 有赞赏、喝彩、鼓掌的意思。例如 The audience applauded the band's performance after the concert. 演唱会结束后，观众为这个乐团的表演喝彩。另外，补充 applaud 的名词 applause, A-P-P-L-A-U-S-E, applause. 我们可以说After the singer finished his song, there was a loud applause from the audience. 当歌手唱完歌曲时，观众席传来很大的掌声。
Okay, the previous Spider-Man. Okay, a guy named Andrew Garfield. I think he made a couple of movies, but they weren't really all that great. They were okay, but they weren't as good as the Spider-Man movies that came before that, the ones featuring Tobey Maguire. Yeah, Andrew Garfield did a really good job, but the movies that he did as Spider-Man, they're not considered the best Spider-Man movie. So yes, they had to reboot the franchise with Tom Holland. And by the way, Tom Holland has made a splash as Spider-Man. People love him as Spider-Man. Yes, get this, Holland was widely applauded for his energetic performance in Spider-Man: Homecoming in 2017. Even receiving a BAFTA Rising Star Award.
Indeed. So he got off to a good start there. He was widely applauded. Yay, you did a good job. We love you. Encore, encore. But no, this here applauded does not specifically refer to people clapping and shouting for you. It just means he was praised for his energetic performance in Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017, just a couple of years ago. And of course, he got that Rising Star Award as a result. And his success launched him into stardom, which means he became a star as a result of that success. He was on talk shows. His picture was all over the internet. Girls screamed when they saw him, but he's made sure not to let it go to his head because he knows that the terrible thing about being famous is you start to believe it. Ooh, that sounds very humble. And in this case, we're saying that he did not let it go to his head. If you use this phrase to describe someone, oh, he let his intelligence go to his head, that just means they really think they're cool because of that special quality that they have. We say this about pretty girls, too. They let it go to their head. They suddenly think they're beauty queens. But guys can do this as well. If they're successful, they think they're the top dog. They're the most attractive person in the world, etc. So he said that, no, I'm not going to let this go to my head. I'm going to continue to believe that I'm just like the guy next door.
There you go. If you let something go to your head, you become too proud. You become too proud, too immodest, and you become arrogant. Like Roger said before, sometimes people let success go to their heads. They become excessively proud. They think that their achievements are amazing and wonderful and that everyone should pay homage to them or respect them, and they start to act like a real jerk, or these people start to act like real jerks. Yes, if something has gone to your head, you've kind of become a jerk, a proud, arrogant, boastful jerk. Anyways, moving on, it says here that this self-awareness, along with reminders from his dad, has helped him stay grounded. Yes, you don't want fame to go to your head. You don't want anything to go to your head. You want to stay grounded. Yes, if you stay grounded, it means that you still have a realistic view of the world and how you fit into the world. Okay, if you let something go to your head, you might think you're a lot better than you actually are, and that's not a good thing. So try to stay grounded. Yes, here Tom Holland has exhibited self-awareness, okay? He knows what's going on outside of him and within inside of himself as well. That's what self-awareness is all about. You know what's going on inside of you. Now, he's got this self-awareness, but his dad also gives him reminders all the time, and these have been helpful to him. But what is a reminder? A reminder is something that reminds you of something, okay? A reminder jogs your memory, it helps you remember things, it helps you recall things, so on and so forth. Very simply, a reminder is something that keeps you from forgetting something.
Exactly. Sometimes our editor here will send us a reminder in the email or a reminder in an email saying, hey, remember you have to come into the studio tomorrow to record some lessons. So his dad reminded him, hey, son, you might be famous now. You might be making millions of pounds every year, but always remember where you came from, okay? You're just a simple boy, and that's the important part of your personality that you have to remember. So, of course, he has stayed grounded as a result, which means he's still very practical, very down to earth. He doesn't think he's better than other people. He has not let stardom go to his head. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson. Let's now listen to the third part of our lesson and finish our lesson.
This month, Holland is back again in Spider-Man: Far From Home, in which the teenage superhero faces off against villains during a school trip to Europe. With several other movies lined up for the promising young actor, our spidey sense tells us that this is just the start of a brilliant career.
第三部分我们可以看到一个片语 face off， 表示对决、对峙，常用 face off against or with 加名词来指与点点点对决。举例来说 The two boxers will face off in a match this Saturday night. 这两名拳击手将在这星期六晚上对战。或者说The host always faces off against another team from its group in the first match of the World Cup. 在世界杯的第一轮赛事中，地主队总是迎战其分组中的另一队。最后，我们看到一个名词 villain， 用来指小说、电影的反派主角、坏人或是恶棍。像是 The good guys nearly always defeat the villains in Hollywood movies. 在好莱坞电影中，几乎所有好人都会打败反派的坏人。另外，补充一个相关片语 villain of the piece， 代表万恶之首。所以我们可以说 Don't blame me for this. Anna is the real villain of the piece. 这件事别怪我 Anna 才是真正的大坏蛋。
All right, folks, we're back, and we are going to wrap up our lesson on Tom Holland right now. Yes, the next sentence says, Holland is back again in Spider-Man: Far From Home, in which the teenage superhero faces off against villains during a school trip to Europe. Ooh, sounds cool. Yes, Spider-Man: Homecoming was pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure that Spider-Man: Far From Home is going to be even better. Anyways, in this movie, apparently, Tom Holland as Peter Parker is going to travel to Europe on a school trip, and there he is going to have to face off against some villains, some bad guys. Yeah, here to face off against something is to confront that thing, it's to fight that thing, or to compete against something. But I get the feeling here that Tom Holland as Spider-Man is going to be fighting these villains. He's going to be facing off against them.
That's right. So his school is taking a trip to Europe, and of course he meets some bad guys there, so he needs to confront them. He needs to face off against villains. I'm sure he'll use his superpowers to help him in that, and it will be a very exciting movie to watch as a result. So with several other movies lined up for the promising young actor, our spidey sense tells us that this is just the start of a brilliant career. So he's a promising young actor. If you're promising, or if you're full of promise, that means you have great potential. You're probably going to be very successful in the future. You're a promising young actor. You could be promising in all sorts of different fields. A promising engineer. You're good at math and science and stuff like that, so you're probably going to be a very successful engineer. You have a promising career ahead of you. And also, if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you know about this thing called spidey sense, which means he kind of has this ability to sense danger even though he can't really see it.
There you go, spidey sense. Yeah, you can say my spidey sense is tingling, or that's what Peter Parker or Tom Holland as Spider-Man might say. And yes, this is for sure. The future is very bright for young Tom Holland. He is a promising young actor. He has tons of potential, and he shows tons of promise. Yes, in the future, he sure is going to be successful, even more successful than he is now. Yes, let's take a look at an example sentence for the word promising. You can say, he is the most promising young scientist in this department. Now, further, we also have the word career to talk about. When you're talking about your career, you're talking about what you do for a living. You're talking about your profession, your life's work, the job that you do throughout your life, usually to support yourself financially.
That's right. So hopefully all of you will have wonderful career opportunities and you'll be successful. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. We need to hear from our Chinese teacher now.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分倒数第二句有提到说 The young actor says he can relate to Peter Parker because neither of them was ever the cool kid at school. 这名年轻演员也就是 Tom Holland 他说他可以对 Peter Parker 感同身受，因为他们从来都不是学校里面的酷小孩。那句子里面用到relate to somebody or something 就表示对某人或某事物感同身受，能够理解。好，那么动词 relate 在这边就表示理解，之后呢常常会接 to 再加人或事物去表达认同某人或某事物，跟某人或某事物产生共鸣，像是 I can relate to her feelings， 意思就是我可以理解她的感受，我可以感同身受。那这边再顺便补充动词 relate 的其他用法。第一种是 relate A to B， 就表示将 A 跟 B 做联系，使 A 和 B 之间有关联。我们也可以用被动语态 A is related to B 来表达 A 和 B 有关联，像是 I want to buy him a gift that is related to his hobbies， 我想要买跟他兴趣有关的礼物来送给他。好，第二个用法 relate 它有叙述讲的意思，意思就相当于 tell， 不过呢 relate 是比较正式的用字，当我们说 relate something to somebody 就表示向某人叙述某件事。例如 The traveler related what he had seen to them， 那位旅人把他所见所闻描述给他们听。好，那读到课文第二部分的第二句，他说 His success launched him into stardom but he's made sure not to let it go to his head。 好，句子里面用到一个名词 stardom， 它是指明星的身份，明星的地位。那么 launch 在这边它是表达让什么什么的事业职涯开始成功，所以 launch him into stardom 就表示让他的演艺事业开始成功，登上明星地位。好，其实 stardom 这个字也常常会搭配其他动词，像是 rocket to stardom 或是 shoot to stardom， 这两个用语就表示一举成名，打响名号或是声名大噪。其中这个 rocket 火箭，它当动词就表示快速窜起，迅速成功。好，另外我们再看到句子里面有一个奇怪的片语叫 go to one's head， 去某人的头，这是什么意思呢？其实这个片语是表达说某人高兴的冲昏头了，使某个人自满。我们常常会用 let fame go to one's head， 或者是 let success go to one's head， 也就是说让名利成功跑进某人的头里面，他就变大头症，被冲昏头，骄傲自满，自以为比别人厉害。好，那么相反的，课文第二部分最后有用到说 stay grounded， 这个字面上的意思是保持在地面上，那它是用来表达一个人他知道自己的性格，知道什么才是最重要的，所以 stay grounded 意思就接近说理智的，头脑清醒的，他是脚踏实地的。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Execute. The ice skater executed the first jump in his routine perfectly, impressing the crowd. Applaud. While I applaud the government's efforts to fix the problem, I think more must be done. Reminder. Drew messaged his coworkers a reminder about their meeting that afternoon. Villain. At the end of the story, readers never find out the real identity of the villain. Promising. All of the managers agree that Brenna's future in the company looks very promising. Career. Martin decided he wanted a career change, so he went back to school to study another field.
Discussion Starter starts now!
All right, folks, now it's time for our discussion starter. Roger, how do you think Tom Holland's Spider-Man compares to previous portrayals by other actors?
Well, I think Tom Holland's portrayal is much more realistic because when they show him talking to his classmates, he says things that young people actually say. It's not like the other Spider-Mans in the past who said things that did not sound realistic. It sounds like they got the wrong screenwriters to write that dialogue. But here, I think they hit the nail right on the head. How about you?
I agree. Compared to other actors, Tom Holland stands alone as Spider-Man. He was born to play Spider-Man, which is why I think he's far better than Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.